Hey, what's up, everyone? So I've been pretty regularly playing a GoldenEye for the last what has it been, month and change. To my all time is blurring together, and I'm losing track of everything as I age. I don't remember how long it's been since they re-released on Switch, but yeah, I've been kind of going back to it, like playing it for a week or so. You know, playing something else, playing more GoldenEye. I just keep going back to GoldenEye over and over again. You know, for years now. Heck, I would probably going back, 15 years at this point. I've heard people say, if you go back and play GoldenEye today, it doesn't measure up. It actually sucks. But I don't know. I have access to all the first-person shooters out there at this point. Between the various modern systems, all the eShops, all the digital stores, whatever. And for some, I just can't get GoldenEye out of my head. Just something about its mechanics. I could play 100 other, like, infinitely more modern first-person shooters for quite affordable prices at this point, but I just keep going back to GoldenEye. I can't escape from this game. Just something about the mechanics of its shooting just feels good to me. In a way, I don't know, just no other first-person shooter where getting that headshot has ever just given me that it's the James Bond kind of power fantasy. This game, even like future James Bond games, like I played your Nightfires, your Agent Under Fires, your more modern era Activision ones with like Daniel Craig as the player character and stuff, but something about GoldenEye is just eternally magic to me, I have to say. It's despite claims that going back and replaying GoldenEye will shatter your rose-tinted glasses, I have to say that going back to it, if anything, this has solidified its place on my favorite games of all time list. But this isn't a GoldenEye 007 review. It's not what this video is for. If I was going to do that, I would do it on I would record video footage of me playing through the game and do it on my main channel. Now, this is I thought just for fun, just for shits and giggles, I would do a GoldenEye 007 level difficulty tier list. Now, to be clear, this is not me ranking the levels in my order of preference. For the record, if I was to do something like that, probably like Facility and Bunker 2 and I don't know, maybe a Train, maybe Dam for nostalgia. Maybe those would be at the top. But no, that's not what this is. So, no one take to the comments and argue about this level is better than you ranked it. That's not what I'm ranking here. This is a difficulty tier list only. Only taking into account the 00 agent difficulty, because agent is entirely, some levels are laughably, nothing on agent once they strip away all the objectives, No, this is strictly taking into account the 00 agent difficulty, and we're just gonna now go level by level by level, ranking this bitch up. So of course we will start with the Dam, and so I think I'm gonna land at about I'll land at about a C here. The opening stretch of the level, that iconic opening area outside the little gate with the guard tower and the sniper rifle up on it, that's all quite simple, even a 00 agent level. No difficulty at all to take out the first few guys, snipe the guys in the tunnel. There's one little kind of tricky bit when you're coming around the tunnel. There's this kind of pretty long stretch ahead to the enemies. There are a couple in a tiny little silo, some standing around that little area near where the truck are, and those enemies see you when you're pretty far off. Like the second you come around the corner, that for first level, first part of the first level enemies, they have really good eyesight. They'll spot you and start blasting right away with their KF-7 Soviets. I almost said AK-47, but they're KF-7 Soviets, aren't they? No, they'll start blasting out. They'll usually miss, and you have the sniper rifle. But that's the one little tricky part. After that, the next section, once you get through the truck gates, again, pretty easily, just a few enemies spread out. Easy to snipe everyone on the 3 towers on the dam itself. Now, the only reason I put this at C tier instead of D tier is because going into the tunnel underneath the dam to get to the computer room, it is possible to die in that part. You probably won't, but it's possible. When I play the level like on Agent or Secret Agent, just for fun, I'll start at the furthest section of the dam, like away from when you walk on top of the dam, and go through the entire tunnel and take out everyone. But you don't actually have to do that, 00 Agent. You can just go into under the first guard tower, make sure no one's right behind you, but you can just kill the guys right up to the stretch of the computer room, and once you get in the computer room, it's easy to take them out around the corner to lure them and take them out. So it's that tunnel under the dam itself. That's the only reason I put it at C tier. Otherwise, not too tricky. Obviously, double agent is certainly the hardest, not just, on account of increased enemy health and accuracy and etc., but because the adding on the objective that makes you go into the tunnel does, dramatically, doubles, triples the length of the level per se. But still, a relatively simple beginning to things. Facility. I think we're going to go actually in the middle of this, B tier. Yeah. First, second level, if you were to, for whatever reason, start trying to play the game on double O agent, you would kind of find a level that's can be difficult-ish all the way the second level of the game, Facility, because it's relatively lengthy-ish compared to some of these shorter levels in the game. Like, there's quite a bit to do, quite a few objectives, and there are areas where enemies can, I've even died, trying to open that metal door in the first section of the facility and get the, the remote to open the door on the other side of the window. Enemies can kind of swarm around you there. There is a relatively reliable way to, take out the enemies in the bathroom, of course, then go out, turn left, go to the door, down the stairs, take out that guy, then kind of sneak around the perimeter, sniping guys until you have everyone except the people behind, not the metal door, but the little lab door across from the metal door. Open it, take them out. Then pretty much you only have the 3 guys in the metal door to deal with. But beyond that, there's sections in the hallways where enemies can, there can be a flood of them. There can be a lot, and they can kind of trap you. But, once you get through the, the room with the 2 remotes for the doors in the middle, and hopefully Dr. Doak, ideally you get Dr. Doak in the side lab area with the computers and gas tanks and whatnot. If not, it can be kind of annoying to have to go into the room on the right for him, to check for him. I don't blame anyone for just resetting the level at that point. It only takes a couple minutes to get back. But once you get through the door on the left, nothing should be too tricky, really. Because, mostly it's just enemies around corners. And once you get to the room with Alec Trevelyan, unless you do something stupid, like accidentally blow Alec up with the when you load the gas canisters, which I'm pretty sure I have done. Other than that, at that point, nothing to, just a cutscene after that point. So yeah, B tier, but probably a low B tier. We'll find out as we go deeper into the list. Runway, that's going to be our first D tier. Not because it's impossible to die. You can. There's a ton of gunfire and stuff coming at you at the end. The first part's very easy. Going in the little room, chuck a grenade, blow up those guys, grab the key, go get the tank. Now, as you're trying to get the machine guns and the missile turret and all that, it is possible to die, but the reason I put it in D, like if this was the end section of, say, a level the length of like Dam or something, then it would be like very stressful, right? Because then, like, if you fuck up, you're back to the beginning, and man, that would suck. But I put it in D tier, despite the fact that it's possible to die, because if you die, you basically are going 1 minute back to the beginning of the level. It's such a quick shot. And there is enough leeway that, if you die, just you lose almost no time in your life. You're back to the same spot 50 seconds later, right? So that's why it's in D tier, because it's so short. Let's go with C tier for surface. I don't know. I'm torn whether it or Dam should be at the high. I guess I'll put it a little bit, well... No, okay, I'll put it just above Dam, because it's not... Most of the enemies, there are very few enemies that'll see you before you get the jump on them. Like, as you go around, you start with the sniper rifle, right? So you can get all the enemies around the surface itself pretty easily from a distance if you just have a little patience. And even if you don't, I don't know what is in various enemies' AIs that makes it so some of them will start shooting at you from a big distance, like I mentioned in Dam, those ones around that kind of first corner right near the beginning of the level. They start shooting at you from a distance. It seems like in Surface, for whatever reason, they see you, but then they take a long charge across the snow before they even level their gun at you. They just run and run and run. So they're not too hard to take out. And then there's the ones in the doors. Pretty much all of them, you just open the door and just blast away. You'll be fine. I put it a little above Dam because some of the objectives can be confusing. If you know it real well as you go into it, this doesn't matter so much, but it's like, where's this key go to? Which door do I need for which? It can be a little headachy, a little annoying to sort through. But by and large, it does go down in C tier because the enemies are pretty weak, and like I said, they just kind of charge you from far away before even trying to shoot you. Once you know how to do it, none of the enemies or obstacles particularly provide too much difficulty in this one. And Bunker 1, I'm actually going to peg as the easiest level yet. Even easier than Runway, despite the fact that it takes a little longer. Runway, you are the center of a hail of bullet fire at the end, but Bunker 1, pretty much, yeah, you can just go around every corner and take out every enemy pretty slowly. Towards the left, there's kind of like this area where there's a camera you got to get first. You can get spotted by the enemy and get shot once or twice there, but pretty much just open the door, shoot the two guys, take out the camera and the guy through the window on the door, go down the little hallway, take those guys out, go back in the little walkway above the pool where you started, take the camera out, go out that door. Then there's the little bit with the camera and the guys down the hall I mentioned. Then you're basically in the clear from that point. You might get in a little bit of a firefight, taking out the main kind of gold room, the one with the big screen, you know, you have to photograph and meet Boris and everything. But yeah, once you get to Boris, yeah, just walk him to the console and scan it and everything. And on your way out, you might have, because the alarm goes off, you might have to shoot down a few of the guys coming in through the door. But by and large, yeah, I pretty much, this is one I, even on 00 Agent, as a mediocre gamer, especially first-person shooters, this is one I basically never die on that I can think of. It's pretty simple the whole way through, short and simple and easy. And you can take out most of the guys around the corners, except for maybe the one little firefight in the room at the end that I mentioned. What is not easy is Silo. Holy shit, what a difficulty spike on 00 Agent. I mean, this is... I'm like dancing on like... man. I already know kind of what levels will be in S tier, so I'll go with A tier difficulty. I mean, this is high. This is a high A tier. This is like the A+ tier. Silo is brutal on 00 Agent. It's not that any one section is overwhelmingly difficult, but it's just the totality of it. There's so many corridors, and you only get one little body armor at the end, and I don't think it's even a full body armor. I think it like gives you 4 blocks instead of the whole thing, which is just a little bit of sadism from the game programmers at that point. Shit. But yeah, I mean, there's none of the individual hallways or the individual kind of laboratory rooms, yeah, is that difficult, but it's just there's a bunch of them. I'm not sure off the top of my head what, if you count each section, like there's the first hallway, the first room, the hallway in between, what is there, 10 individual sections or something, and like every little hit just can kind of add up, and the objectives are kind of annoying too, like getting the scientists to drop the key cards and the DATs and going into your menu over and over again to plant the plastiques on the wall and photograph the day. Yeah, it's annoying, all the going into the pause screen to grab all the items you need to use and holding up all the scientists to get them to drop their stuff. Sometimes you miss a key card and you have to look back through it. I will say that the timer is not too bad. I don't think I've ever actually run out of time, except for like once when I just set the controller down to see what would happen, which I think is that the whole level blows up, right? But other than that, the timer's never been an issue. I'm imagining like an imaginary version of this level where they like bring the timer down another 2 minutes, and it's brutal also. Then this might be #1 difficulty for the whole game. Fortunately, that's not the case. But yeah, it is still pretty tough. When you find Orimov at the end, it's best to just make a bullseye for him. Just run while holding on the shoot button. Basically keep pace with Orimov, running toward the elevator with him. Don't try to take out everyone. Just kamikaze attack towards him the second you see him. But other than that, yeah, this one's tough, man. It took me, when I was replaying the game the other month when it first came out on the Switch, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, yeah, I just sailed on through Silo at a 00 Agent, no problem. It took me a lot of tries, but fortunately I saw like a little guide on YouTube about how to change the controls using both the in-game GoldenEye, changing the control setup and inverting the aim, and changing your switch buttons to give it kind of the modern shooting style, with where the right stick basically does the camera up and down, and the left stick controls, and the trigger button, I guess the R button with your right finger, does the fires the gun. And using that, I was able to kind of treat Silo as a little bit more of like a shooting gallery kind of thing. Almost more like the original kind of design plan for GoldenEye as like an on-rails shooter. This level is like the biggest remnant to that, I think, even more so than Train. And I did get through it, but I won't say it took me like 1 or 2 tries. Probably took me like 10 tries. Now, once I did it just again to confirm, and I got it my very next try. So I think I finally mastered it, but you have to really learn it. It is tough. This is a huge difficulty spike. Like, as I have it just above Facility, ranked above Facility only, as I have ranked things right now, but it's miles harder than Facility, and probably like the next 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 levels. This is so much harder on 00 Agent than anything else in the first half of the game, far and away. Now, Frigate. How am I gonna rank you? I guess I'll go a little bit above Facility. Yeah, that feels about right to me. It's not an A tier. I look at Frigate and Silo on the same, and they're not on the same category at all. Can be a little bit hard to... There's one room I never managed, because usually you go around the first kind of little hull of the ship, whatever you call it. You find the room with the first bomb. It's kind of like the little piloting deck of the ship or whatever. And that hostage I saved, no problem. Sometimes I will get hit by a guy in there, but no huge deal. But then once you go through the next few orders, there's room where 2 executioners with their hostages will see you at once, and no matter how fast I am on the trigger, I feel like one of them either gets shot or gets blown up by like an exploding console in like the crossfire, right? But other than that, once you get down in the basement, I don't find any of the hostages too terribly difficult to save. Most of them as you open the doors, you see the executioner like from the back, and except for the one kind of in the very kind of, what do you call, the bottom of the ship, the hull. I don't know. I'm not a nautical terms expert. I'm sorry. I need to study up on my my seafaring lingo. But the bottom area of the ship, the deck, whatever. I don't fucking know what it's called. That's the only one where the guy kind of sees you from a distance. But yeah, you can kind of take them out. And there's even a lot of guys you see from a distance, and you can headshot them. And the bombs are never a big deal. Throwing the tracking bug on the helicopter, no one's guarding that at the back of the ship, actually. That's easy. I always feel like the game that Xenia Onatopp is mentioned in the kind of briefing, I really feel like they meant for like there to be some kind of a boss battle with Xenia here, where like she was going to get on the helicopter and fly away, but they couldn't figure out how to program it in time, so they dropped it. But I swear, like following the movie where Xenia was on the boat and stole the helicopter, again, you're playing the bug, I feel like a small Xenia boss battle must have been planned for here. At least some kind of encounter, like how you encounter Orimov in Facility or whatever. But yeah, they cut that so the helicopter's completely unguarded. So really, once you get through the initial stretch, by the time you get down in the basement, you're past the hard part. Then it's just kind of a shooting gallery, and none of the hostages ever really get executed from me after that point. So it lands about in B tier, a little bit trickier the Facility, because there are a few points you can get a little overwhelmed and get shot, particularly in the first half or so of the level, but it's not too bad. Surface 2. This is on a pretty similar level to Frigate, so I'll put it... I'll put it a hair above Frigate, just because it can be a bit confusing. I guess Frigate can be a bit maze-like too, but Surface 2, it's the same wide open space as Surface 1, but now the lighting is darker. There's more kind of weird little locked doors and buildings to go in, and the big catch is that now the enemies... This is one of the only levels in the game besides Cradle. I'm not sure what else. It honestly might be just Cradle and this and the whole game, I think. Maybe Statue also, where the enemies know where you are from the second the level starts, and they're charging toward you, and they're ready. Unlike Surface 1, they are ready to aim and fire from a distance. Now, this is one level I feel like is definitely easier on the Switch. This will also be true of Statue in a little bit, because it seems less foggy, and it seems like you have better visibility. It seems like, as I remember, getting just mad lost in the red, dim black fog of this level on the N64, but now it's not so bad. But it can be confusing to figure out. The enemy placement can be a little tricky. And there have been instances where I've gotten kind of pinned down at the far edge of the map where the cabins are and gotten kind of overwhelmed with enemies and shot dead there, but fortunately going around at the edge and blowing up the helicopter isn't too hard. Blowing up cameras and stuff, a little annoying, but yeah, fortunately the main building with the dish on it, not too tricky to go in there, and because you know the enemies kind of can't aim and shoot at you on the stairway like a real gunman could. They kind of have to run up it and stuff, so it's not too hard to kind of hunker down in there for a minute and protect yourself. So yeah, it's more the confusing layout of this level is the reason why I have it ranked above anything except Silo so far. Although, once again, the difficulty gap between this and Silo is substantial. Like I said, Silo is... My first inclination was honestly to give it S tier, but we'll talk more about S tier in a little bit. But yeah, Service 2, it can be a little bit tricky on 00 Agent, but it's manageable with a few tries, I'd say at least. This is an interesting one, Bunker 2. And I'm going to... First, I'll put this as I perceived it as a child playing GoldenEye 007 on 00 Agent as like a little kid 25, 26 years ago. And that was as a nightmarishly difficult hellscape. That would be easy S tier, top of the S tier, unimaginably difficult. But here's what's interesting. Playing the game today, I realized that I was treating this as a kid as way too much of an all-out action. Like, I was trying to go Rambo on it. Well, one, I was trying to free Natalia at the beginning because I thought that's what you had to do. Then go Rambo through the hallways, and infinite enemies spawn. None of them are overwhelmingly strong or have overwhelmingly high health, but there are infinite of them, and you will get pinned down and killed. However, playing the game now, maybe I figured this out at some point between, you know, I've played GoldenEye 007 a few times over the years, but particularly now, I found a route through the level. So basically, unlock the jail cell door, slap the guard dead. I don't even touch the knives. I don't care about them. I take his KF-7 Soviet, stare through the jail cell window for a few minutes, and eventually I think 4 guys will come through, headshot each and every one of them, run over to the room with the safe and the 2 computers, headshot one guy through the window, run back to the jail cell hallway, close the door, 2 more guys will come out, headshot them through the window, go left and around the hallway, then peek around the corner, shoot the guys, pop, 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 don't hold down the fire trigger, just one bullet at a time, take out a few guys, up the stairs, look through the window, just take out those guys real easy. I've heard you don't even need to do the hallway and the edge with the 3 sentry turret gun things. I do it anyway, just for completionism's sake, and none of the guys in there are hard to get. Then you can peer down the long hallway that leads into the the main control room with the screen. You can take out the camera and the guy, go into the little airlock chamber that it was nice of them to provide for the computer room. You can take out the guy and the camera through the window. You don't even need to go in the room. Go get the key. You can go get your silenced PP7s if you want. Now, the one part you might get into a little firefight is that room with the 3 alcoves at the end that I think it has body armor, not on 00 Agent difficulty, but it's where you get the clipboard. That room, I do kind of need to get into a firefight, but up to that point, I can get there without taking a single hit at this point. And I might get hit a few times there trying to take out, you end up taking out, what, 10, 12, 15 dudes. Some of them will stream in the room, but I rarely die there. And then take out one last camera, go pick up your videotape. You already got the stuff in the safe. You can free Natalia at this point probably, but I wait till the end. But then just clearing out the last room, you can just do it peeking around the corner basically. There's 2 guards guarding the hallway leading to the door outside the helipad. Take them out. A few guys will come charging down the room to the right, down the stairway, but they're pretty slow, so nothing's hard to take out in this room at all. Once again, maybe I'll get hit like once, but yeah, by and large, I figured out a route through this level that I can pretty reliably beat it. Now, it is still kind of a mental task. It takes a little while. You have to know a pretty specific route and pretty specific strategy, and and you have to employ stealth, strategy, knowledge, even a little bit of good old firefighting in that room at the end. So it's still a little above B tier, but from how it felt as a child, I'm now moving this down to the A tier, to the tier of stuff that's manageable to do, and it's definitely easier than a silo for me at this point in my life, hands down. So yeah, this was very satisfying, this last playthrough, feeling like I finally cracked the code to Bunker 2, because this was a Herculean task to me as a child. I could not do it, and now I can. So yeah, that's been a really nice thing about this re-release of GoldenEye 007 is this level that I just could not do, one attempt out of 100 at 00 Agent I could do as a kid. Now I can do it probably 90 out of 100, 95 out of 100 attempts. So that's been nice. That's been very satisfying for me. So on to Statue. Another level made much easier by the increased visibility and what seems like less fog and better lighting on playing it on the Switch as opposed to the N64. And here's, I don't know if this is controversial, surprising to anyone. I am going to put this as the easiest level in GoldenEye 007, and that is because this is basically an interactive cutscene if you know where to go and what you're doing. There are a few guards kind of coming at you right at the beginning, but they're not particularly powerful or threatening. You can shoot them down pretty easily. Then you can basically ignore all the soldiers and enemies on your just quick little jaunt, kind of hanging on to the left side of the map to get to Valentin Zakowski's little storage unit and have your little chat with him. Then again, you can basically ignore the guards straight through to when you get to Alec. Maybe one or two will take a pot shot at you. I don't even fight them. I just run past all of them. There's body armor. This level is so totally achievable without body armor, but even on 00 Agent, they gift you with body armor near the end. I think it's in front of a little hand statue. You hook around a little corner to get it. Go to Alec, wait for it to Objective B to clear, and then you think that you need to have a little firefight with the 4 guys with the shotguns guarding Alec. You don't. Just the second that it says Objective B achieved or whatever, just beeline it towards where Alec is, just run past all the guards, then just keep running, hanging on to what's now the right side of the map, just run through every little, just ignore everything, just run past every guard, pay no attention, pay no heed to anyone or anything, until you reach Natalia, wake her up, walk back over. You might have to shoot a guard or two here while you wait for the light box to appear, but it will in due time, and then yeah, you're good. Just grab that shit and just skedaddle onto the gate. Nothing in this level is challenging at all if you know where you're going and what to do. It's just a cutscene. So yeah, Statue, easiest level on confusing on foggy N64 if you don't know where you're going and what you're doing. If you know where you're going and what you're doing with the better visibility of playing GoldenEye on a modern system, easy peasy, even on 00 Agent. It's not really any harder than playing it on Agent, I don't think. Now, here's an interesting one. Archives would have ranked relatively high, maybe high B tier or maybe even A tier to me when I was first playing through it. And I don't mean first playing through it as a kid. I mean first playing through it like a few weeks ago when the game was re-released, because there are a lot of guards and they're coming at you pretty heavy and steady. But here's the fun little catch. Then I went back and started trying to play it to get the little cheat right. What is it, like 1 minute and 20 seconds? And I learned that in doing so, that even on 00 Agent, you can ignore basically every single enemy in the level if you want to. Because you think when you're playing the game initially that you have to shoot the guards in Natalia's room as if you're freeing a hostage in the frigate level. You don't. You just have to open the door and then just run away from her. And the game continues to keep her active as your little escort companion. So slap the dudes in the room dead, then just basically run past every guard. Just run. You can shoot them if they're directly in your way, but basically just run through the hallways. Just run past everyone shooting at you. Run into Natalia's room, open it, run down to the defense minister and chat with him. Then just run, shoot down the window. And the only catch is that some dudes might start shooting at you when you're in the defense minister's room. It's kind of like 50-50 whether that happens. And you still have to be really quick if you actually want to get the cheat. That is hard. But Yeah, but otherwise, it's funny to play this game, play this level, trying to do the cheat and learn that you can ignore basically all the enemies except for the ones you have to slap dead in the first room. You just open Natalia's room, run, and you'll be fine. So that actually sends this level down to the bottom of B tier, because it's only if you decide to fully engage with it and fight every enemy that it becomes infinitely more challenging and lengthy. But if you don't want to, you're golden. Streets. Here's another one of the same case where trying to work my way through it initially on Double O Agent, I did die several times, but then I figured out that the initial part to get to Zukovsky is not too hard. It's another kind of shooting gallery section where you have pretty good visibility on every enemy and you can see them around corners, and there's a body armor also. But then once you get to the tank, what I learned kind of from an online strategy guide is just turn right every time. Don't really stop to engage any enemies. Have your tank shells ready to blow up the little sections. You just turn right every single time you have the opportunity once you're in the tank, and you'll avoid every meaningfully difficult enemy with no real problem. And you might get popped at a couple times with a rocket launcher. You can die, which is why I don't put this in the bottom of C tier or D tier. But basically, you can just kind of beeline it from when you get to the tank to the end. As long as you turn right every time, you'll avoid the hardest parts. Once you get to the very last minefield little area, I usually just ditch the tank and just run for the end. And it only takes about less than a minute from there, and only 2 guys to take out with KF-7 Soviets, I think. But yeah, if you know what to do and you know the right route, I can beat streets basically every time on Double O Agent. Depot. Yeah, this one I'm gonna put high B tier. It doesn't belong in A tier because it's not terribly difficult. It's not the most difficult, but for one, the buildings can be confusing. This is kind of B tier, high B tier, assuming that you know where to go. It would be A tier if you're trying to figure it out and keep the enemies off your ass at the same time, because as you start to make a ruckus, a crowd can form and they can take you out. The hardest part of the level, really, for me is there's this annoying what do you call them? Turret gun, drone gun, wall gun around a corner in one of the buildings off to the left. It's a building where you have to pick up a save key and blow up the screen and 2 computer hard drive things. This gun can be annoying. It's kind of in this dark corner where it's kind of hard to see, even on playing the game on Switch. And it sees you the microsecond you poke around the corner, and it just fires on you with deadly accuracy. That can be annoying. That I feel like I almost always get hit at least once or twice by that. First trying to do the level, I'm pretty sure I got full-on killed by it. Just health from 100 to 0. Once you take it out, it's not too hard. Usually a crowd has formed outside the building once you're getting out, and but just kind of poke your head out, just open fire madly on them, and you can probably take them out. Once you make through there, you can probably get it to the end. It can be a little annoying once you blow up the arms cache or whatever on the one building. There's usually a few guys waiting for you outside. Once you get to the last building, easy from there. So yeah, this one, I have ranked it 3rd of what I've ranked so far, and that does feel about right to me, because crowds of enemies can form that can be annoying, and that drone turret gun thing, it sucks. And we'll get some levels later on where they suck even more, but yeah, so it's not nightmare tier by any means whatsoever, but not easy either. Speaking of not easy, now this one, Silo and Train, hard. So I'll put Train just below Silo, but it is hard. Much like Silo, this is a fairly linear kind of shooting gallery of a level. The saving grace of Train is that the hardest part is the first 2 cars. You have to poke around a lot of corners. There's like 5-6 guys in each car just facing you down over rows of boxes. It's hard to even shoot around the boxes because they can blow up and hurt you. The guys are in the distance. They tend to be more accurate than you are. Or at least I should say more accurate than I am, because I'm bad at first-person shooters. They can be hard to take out, and I've gotten full-on killed by the end of the second car, or my health low enough that I can barely take another hit or 2, which sucks. But that's kind of the saving grace, that they do that at the beginning. So you know if you have a bad run, you just need to reset the level. And that's nice. Then it would suck if these cars were the last 2, because then you could just be doing good. You're 5 minutes into the level, then your run falls apart. it's nice to be able to know right at the beginning whether you need to reset or not. But yeah, these first 2 cars are a test of shooting skill. After that, you're in these very long, narrow hallways where it's easy to just open fire even if you can't see, just into the distance, and you'll take out pretty much everyone. There are very strong enemies with, fast, big guns and body armor towards the end of the train, but you kind of come across them one at a time, so it's not hard you're not pinned down from multiple ways like you are in the first couple cars. You can just kind of unload on them. Rarely I get taken out. I have gotten taken out in the last few cars, especially if I take a lot of damage in the first 2 cars, which is why I'll usually reset the game if I'm getting blown away in the first 2 cars. But yeah, once you get to the end, it's not too hard. Now, it's in this last... I had nightmares about trying to get through the laser floor Orimov thing at the back when I was a kid, right? Not sure if I even beat this level in Double O Agent back in 97, 98 when I was a little kid, just because the last train with NATALYA, Orimov, Alec, etc., I would panic. But just in this last month when I was replaying it, I looked up some stuff online and figured out 2 key things. One, you can laser almost the entire panel off the floor from outside the room without any time limit whatsoever. Just stand outside the door, crouch, face it, just carefully laser like 3 edges off of it, or 2.5 edges at least. Very easy. Then time is almost no stress whatsoever in the last stretch. I also remember always panicking and like opening fire immediately, on towards Orimov, and sometimes I'd hit NATALYA or just fuck it up as a kid. What I learned now is that you actually have infinite time. Once you're in the room and you're in the little Mexican standoff there, you can just set your controller down and go make dinner and, take a shit, have a nap, just drive to the movies and drive back with the game unpaused. And when you come back, 4 hours later, Orimov will still be have his gun on NATALYA, and Alec and Xenia will be waiting for your move. So you can very carefully edge to the right side of the car as long as you don't walk up too much, and line up the perfect shot on Orimov and Xenia. Sometimes the game will like glitch up then, and NATALYA won't look at the computer in time, which is a huge pain in the ass. That happened to me once. I had a near perfect run through the whole level, and then NATALYA fucked it up by standing there like a moron for 30 seconds before looking at the computer. But provided that doesn't happen, the last car, there's strategies that I just mentioned with the laser and with lining up your shot that can pretty much get you through it. Then I always just ignore the guys outside the train at the end. I just run to the end. So this level is hard. It's fairly lengthy. A lot of sections, a lot of tricky bits you can mess up. But yeah, it's doable. Given a few tries, certainly. It's hard for me to do this one-on-one try. Same with Silo. Jungle. I'm not sure. My gut does say it's harder. Like, if you were to put the game in front of me right now and tell me play Jungle or Bunker 2 on Double O Agent, which one you think you can beat, I'd do Bunker 2. So I feel like I do have to put it between Train and Bunker 2. Even on the modern system, it's a very green and foggy at the beginning. Again, it's kind of nice they put the toughest part at the beginning, which is that initial kind of run between. No matter how much I know those damn like turret guns are waiting for me, I still end up getting shot by them. The camouflage works. They blend in well with the trees. So I'm just always end up getting shot more times than I'd like going through the initial run up to Xenia. Fortunately, I'm usually able to take Xenia out running across the bridge by just standing to the other side and aiming at her head. Then that last stretch, I have died. I've also had NATALYA run in front of my gunfire, my RCP-90 fire, and get killed at the end. But the last little cave area, not too hard. You can mostly poke around corners and up over the ladder to take out the last bits. And I don't even bother taking out the last room. It's just like the end of Silo. Once I get within like about a 10, 20, 15 second run of the final elevator, I ignore every enemy and beeline to it. And I don't think I've ever gotten killed at that part, even when I have very little health. It seems like if you just run full tilt, pretty much everyone will miss you. So yeah, the level isn't easy, because that first section can be tricky with the green fog and the tons of enemies with their assault rifles coming at you. But it's manageable. I won't say so much if you're patient, because I do kind of move pretty quickly through it, but it does give you the body armor. If it didn't give you the body armor, this might go up between Train and Silo. But yeah, it's nice that they give you the body armor. Control, okay. So, any rumors you might have heard throughout the decades are quite true. Control is a proper nightmare. It is not only easily S tier on this list, it is difficult enough that if I was to rank the secret agent version of Control, not 00 agent, but the secret agent version of Control on this list, it would go here only under Silo in this ranking. If I was to rank the agent version, it would probably, be somewhere around here. I'd put it B tier, but no, we're talking 00 agent, and Control is easy S. I won't reveal where on the S tier. We'll discuss at the end the exact little, intricacies and nuances of what's the top S tier as we go on. But yeah, Control is S tier. The S tierness starts when you're first walking out of the elevator, and if you're a novice of the game, you get blasted the hell out of you by a stupid wall turret gun thing that's far enough in the distance that it's a pain in the ass to aim at, but it can aim at you just fine. And then you go around the corner and there's another goddamn one also annoyingly in the distance. It's unbelievable. That first room is such a headache. I don't know. This is one of those things I'm not even sure, like difficulty wise, if I think it's great game design. It makes restarting the level over and over to try to get it right so annoying. I hate this. There's a third one around the corner. That one's fine. That's a legitimate kind of little trap that might get a novice. You have to aim at it. It's no big deal, the third one. But the first two wall mounted guns in Control's main room, such an irritating start to the level. So if I get hit even once at this point, I just reset. So I end up, I'm trying to start this level on 00 agent. I'm playing through the goddamn first room like 10 times, trying to get hit without getting hit by the wall guns. Once you do that, it's not too bad. There's enemies. I want to say there's 5 enemies in that first room. Could be 6. Either way, no big deal. Even the next room, once NATALYA opens the door, you have that room with the guys hiding behind their crates, but that's a perfectly legitimate challenge. I don't find that cheap in the same way I find the turret guns. Sometimes they'll even throw a grenade and take themselves out, but a few more bad guys you twist around the hallways, grab Boris's gun, go get a body armor. There's the room you have to, and then plant your mines on the computer terminal things. When I was a kid, I blew them up all right away. And that's part of why the level is so difficult, because that opens up the windows to when you're trying to guard NATALYA, where you don't want to blow the computer terminals until the end. Now, there's the one room on the side, right beside the room where you meet Boris. It seems difficult. There is 4. There's even more gun turrets in the opening room. There's 4. But it feels a little more fair to me than the ones in the first room, because 2, you can open the door, go way back, then you can kind of shoot him from a distance. The other 2 you can basically just ignore if you're quick enough. Just run through it to drop the mine on the computer terminal, then turn around and book it right out of there. So up to this point, okay, minus the 2 drone turret gun things in the first chamber when you come out of the elevator, up to this point, nothing in this level is too dramatically taxing. It would be like no higher than like this, or it'd be about on frigate level, honestly, up to this point. But then, of course, you open the door and bring in Miss NATALYA Simonova, and yeah, it's just kind of a nightmare. And I do know the strategies. I know which one you have to keep your eye on the 2 windows at either side of the programming room for the ones who will break the windows and shoot her down. I know where to stand best, take them out as they come down the stairs. I know the no-hat ones that'll try to kill NATALYA. I know the various little tricks, but still, in pulling it off, it's just, you look away at the wrong moment for 1 second, and NATALYA has the dreaded message, James, and NATALYA has died, mission failed. Oh my god, it's so terrible. And it's like I mentioned earlier how Runway would instantly turn from a relatively easy and straightforward level to a nightmare level if it was, say, at the end, if you had to do all of Facility and Runway together like as one mission. Imagine that. Then suddenly Runway would become a lot more stressful because you have to get there with all your life, and if you lose, you got to go back to the beginning. That's how I feel about this. If the protecting NATALYA was literally its own mission, like you get to where you're going to open the door for NATALYA, then, fade out, we go back to the menu, then a whole nother mission is protecting NATALYA, right? And you just start there. then it would not be so bad. But it's the fact that you have to get through the whole goddamn level to get up to that point makes it suck, man. It's true RNG. You never know when a guy's gonna show up. No matter how much you keep your head on a swivel, man, just one mistake, and NATALYA, NATALYA has died, mission failed. And then, goddamn, even after that point, you still have the infinite guards flooding in. You have to get into one last room and drop the mine on the terminal, get to the body armor, and I have found it slightly easier since I realized you don't have to go from the last locked room that opens up with the terminal in it and take the long way through the elevator room past Alec Trevelyan to get to the elevator that ends the level. You can, as long as you blow up that computer terminal, you can go back into the room where Boris was, into the room on the left side, get a body armor, and then make a quicker beeline to the elevator. Learning that was a huge relief. That brought it down from S tier difficulty down to just one S tier difficulty. But nevertheless, Control it's the nightmare level for a reason. It's the one I always had nightmares about as a kid, and not even on Double O Agent, on Secret Agent. Control it's a task, man. It's taxing. Yeah, Control is any rumor you might have heard is true. Control is a bitch and a half. And then it gets a lot easier. No, I'm just kidding, because Caverns is our next S tier. I will place it one notch down from Control, which I'll explain in a second, but it's a small notch. I mean, these are this is a mile-long race. Control finishes like a couple of inches ahead of Caverns. Caverns is something I mentioned also with Silo, which we have ranked number 3 here. Just below Control and Caverns, but Caverns and Silo have something very much in common, which is that no individual section is brutally hard, but it's the massive totality of it. Just how much crap you have, so many different tunnels and sections, and there's no body armor, I don't believe, on Double O Agent, right? So every time you take one hit, that brings you just that little bit closer to destruction, and it's hard to get through. It's so long. It's a long ass level. I'm pretty sure it's the longest level in the game. Looking at the list both here and what's ahead, yeah, I can't think of any. The Caverns is the one that takes the longest. Control also, once you add in the Protecting NATALYA, yeah, Caverns, it's a huge area, man, and even as soon as you open the elevator in the first second, you're instantly into a firefight. And again, is beating this firefight with the 5 or 6 guys right outside the elevator difficult without dying? No. Is it difficult without taking any precious hits that will deplete your health that bit that can doom you later in the level? Yes, it is hard. After that, there's a section that's more annoying than brutally difficult. You'll pick up the assault rifle, and you can use the minor scoping sniper rifle ability to mostly take out headshot dudes. The room with the scientist is annoying because even if you had a perfect run getting up to that point, you can still fuck up, and a dumbass scientist can walk into the explosion of one of the pump controls or whatever and kill himself, which can doom you for later on. So if that happens, I'll usually just reset because I don't want to get to the next to last goddamn room in the Caverns and fail the mission because some stupid scientist gets blown up. So yeah, just take the extra seconds you need to shoo those scientists away from the machines as much as possible. Then there's that huge spiral room around the kind of lake area, which is interesting. For some reason, as a kid, that area scared me. I don't know if it triggered some kind of memory of fighting the giant Dianoga in the sewers in Shadows of the Empire. Like, I thought like a giant water monster was going to come out of the middle of the cavern, a lake, and attack or something like that. But no, that room's not hard. At the top, it can be a little bit tricky. This is one of those areas I always seem to take a hit, trying to clear out the next room. I read about a strategy online where you can throw in your timed mines, I think they are, into the next room to kind of help both lure in and then kill the guards. I always seem to fuck it up, though, and get shot at some point. Fortunately, the walkways after this is a bit of the respite from the difficulty. The walkways are pretty easy to peek around and clear everyone out without getting shot, just headshot around the corner, and there's a huge ammo dump in the boxes at the bottom that is a relief on Double O Agent. It makes it a lot easier. I will usually take the secret passage behind the lockers down there to kind of take a few pot shots in the lower cavern area up ahead, although I won't try to actually charge in. I'll just try to kill a couple guys in the bottom. Go back around, clear out all the walkways up to the final room with the fated Jack Wade radio, but I don't go in there yet. Then I track back to the room with the, the area below the room with the lockers on top, drone guns, the door leading to the final hallway, a pump controls on the bottom. As long as you shoot through the lockers and the secret passage at the bottom, you can kind of clear out the bottom a little bit. The top, I usually don't... For some reason, this drone gun is one of the less aggressive ones in the game, it seems. I can get a pretty good view of it in what seems like it should be the angle it can see and hit me and take it out. And sometimes I usually don't get hit here, but it's the little issue, because just you have to take just one hit, you know, in the opening area, one hit trying to clear out that area at the top of the big spiral empty room, one hit here, just everything adds up and can doom you, because it's just so much to do in one run of the level. And then this room at the end, the fated Jack Wade radio room. This room is terrible in all ways. Well, one, I mentioned the scientists can get blown up and screw you over. And of course, more notably, the Jack Wade radio. It is so easy for one stray bullet, dumbass guard to throw a grenade that bounces off the glass, blow up the radio. They just explode the sadistic motherfuckers. They put these explosive barrels right behind the bad guys you're trying to shoot at. If one bullet pops one of them, you're fucked. It blows up the goddamn radio. Your whole run up to that point, no matter how perfect it is, you're screwed over. And then you can even just get shot dead by the many guards in there. They're throwing grenades. They have one that's like an RCB-90, I think, shooting at you. It's a nightmare room. Outside of the protecting NATALYA, it's the worst room in the game, difficulty-wise. It's just, oof, man, I have had so many like good, clean, quality 00 agent runs of caverns up to that point, get screwed up by radio has been damaged, cannot contact Jack Wade. That's a net message that plays my nightmares. Cannot contact Jack Wade. Cannot contact Jack Wade. Cannot contact Jack Wade. Fuck this room. Fuck whoever designed it. Holy shit. And then once you do that, it's still not done. Then you go down the last hallway, and once you open up the door to see Trevelyan, there's 2 turret guns on the ceiling. Holy shit. There is a way to stand off on the side and get them before Trevelyan sees you. It's a pain in the ass, but it's doable. But as soon as Trevelyan sees you, infinitely spanning, heavily armed and armored guards start spawning in from behind you, and you have to make a mad dash. And I have gotten killed in this. I've gotten through the godforsaken Jack Wade radio room, everything else, and been killed in this final mad dash to the elevator, like 5 seconds remaining the level, and just gone into full like childhood rage, want to throw my controller against the wall and scream and curse and spit. Like, oh man, this was not a fun. I'm just gonna admit straight up, one thing I think this and Control have in common is that I only played through them on 00 Agent one time successfully. In this recent month, I've been playing a lot of GoldenEye. I kept coming at them again and again till I did it. No save states or nothing. Once I did it once on 00 Agent, I was like, okay, that hateful task is out of the way. Let's move on with my life. And it really is specific to Secret Agent. I said on the Control that even Secret Agent would rank really high. Caverns, on the other hand, Secret Agent, you're going to move down quite a bit because you don't have to use the radio to contact Jack Wade. So if you get to that last room, fire and destruction can just go up in that little alcove as long as you haven't killed too many scientists before that point. And the scientists, guards, explosive barrels, pump controls, Jack Wade's radio can all go up at once for all I give a shit, and that's fine. But 00 Agent, oh man, that goddamn radio and the length of it. And if you screw up at the end there's at least 10 minutes of your life down the drain. Dear God. So this is S tier. Yeah, this is worse than Silo, hands down. I can play Silo before Caverns, 00 Agent. Caverns is a bitch. And holy shit, I came up with this idea for a video thinking this would be like a 10-15 minute video overall. Looking at the time of my recording here, seems that's not the case, but let's just roll right on ahead to the Cradle. Now, here's another interesting one that this is another one where my perspective, like Bunker 2, or my perspective changed just in this most recent playthrough. Because when I was playing it as a kid, this would definitely be pretty high A tier. It's obviously not long in the same way the Control and Caverns are, but it's a punishing, kind of just non-stop blast of action that seems to demand perfection from you to get through all these guards with their double, whatever the hell the gun is called, and their body armor and their sunglasses, and Trevelyan, yeah, it seems quite stressful. The one part surprisingly is not that stressful is taking out the drone guns in the one little control room Alec runs through. There don't seem to be the smartest drone guns in the game. Other than that, very tough. But here's what's interesting. I'm going to move it all the way down here, which isn't to say it's easy. It's still tough. I can still die. But just this most recent playthrough, I discovered new strategies. Specifically, I read them online or saw them on YouTube or whatever. And there's two things I didn't really understand as a kid that I now understand. Or maybe even I should say actually 2.5 things. Okay, one, there's more body armor than I thought. I've always known about the one, 1 second behind you when you start the level. But there's also another one in the other pump control room, or the antenna control room. And then there's even more on the top. Now, I'd rather not have to go back for those, but once you get the timer out of the way, it's possible. I didn't do that on the runs that I beat 00 Agent Cradle, but it's the option. But yeah, the one in the pump room, huge game changer. And two, and this is even more importantly, what I would always do playing this level my whole life up to this point, up to like a few weeks ago, 25 years up to a few weeks ago, I always played this level the same way, which is chasing directly on Alec's heels the whole way through the level. So shooting him, running down the ramp, all along the bottom edge of the cradle, chasing him up the next ramp, then through the room, and then up to the very top, highest part of the level, again around the edges, then back down. Turns out you don't need to do that. You can approach, you shoot Alec first in the little control room, he runs down the ramp, now you stand at the top of the ramp, aim, shoot him, try to take a headshot if possible, then you just turn around, and as he runs on the bottom, you run through the middle floor, through the two antenna control rooms, then meet him again at the other ramp, then just aim down and shoot again. You keep him trapped, fish in a barrel on the bottom, going from edge to edge, fighting bad guys along the way, picking up the body armor, and just shoot him at the bottom of every ramp. If you headshot him every time, it only takes a few times for him to say, finish the job, James, if you can. And the half I said is because it's not too hard to have the henchmen, the mooks, not shoot you. If you the top of the ramp where you look down to see Trevelyan at the bottom, there's rails. You can move around those rails, and the guards don't know how to shoot you over them. It acts basically as a solid wall to them. So you can almost use that as an obstacle to maneuver around guards and avoid their gunshots, because they can't just aim over it. So using all those tricks together, the extra armor, keeping Alec trapped on the bottom, the using the rail to avoid the guards, all that. Once I learned about all that and tried it again, I think it took me 2 tries. I think I died like one more time, and then my next try, I think I did it, and I don't think my health even got low. I think I was within the blue body armor still when I went down to finish the job. And of course, you spin around and fall down to the bottom backwards to do the, for England James, for me, the final shot on Alec. And I don't think I've actually gotten killed by Alec at that part. So yeah, Cradle, like I said, it still ranks above most of this list just because it's a ton of bad guys coming at you and they're all heavily armed. So I'm not saying it's easy by any means, but I don't rank it as difficult as anything above it. Like Cradle compared to Silo or Train, ooh, so much easier. Like Runway, partially because it's shorter. If there was, say, like a level of some length, then you had to do this part, like, the way you had to do the getting up to protect Natalia and Control. If you had to get through a section, like, say, I'm imagining a nightmare scenario where Caverns is, say it's half the length it is. Say it doesn't have that Jack Wade radio room at the end. Say it's, only the length of up to, the top of that spiral room with the lake at the bottom. Even that, if you had to do all that, then start Control, then start Cradle, then do this in one level, then it would be top of S tier. Because, but the fact that the game has some mercy and lets you do this kind of basically like cinematic extended boss fight by itself without anything leading up to it, that brings it down to the B tier once you know all the tricks. And now, my GoldenEye loving friends, let us move on to Aztec. And so, first off, I think it's super cool they included a Moonraker level in this game, because I don't know if the Roger Moore movies were even that fashionable back in the 90s when this came out. So, yeah, I'm glad that some people at Rare had some love for it. But anyway, moving on from that. So, I'm not going to shock anyone by revealing that this is S tier. I might shock you by revealing that I do place it at the bottom end of S tier, between Caverns and Silo. The reason I place it slightly below Control and Caverns, I'll just reveal right away, is because one, it lacks the RNG factor of the Protecting NATALYA in Control, and there's a lot of very difficult sections. There is no single section as stressful as Protecting NATALYA. Not even close, really. And I place it below Caverns just because it's about half the length, probably. There's not as much to manage, so it's less stressful in that way. If it was like twice as long, then it would probably be here. But it's here because it's not short, but short-ish. Well, it might be short, honestly. Once you know the layout of the whole level, it's not that much bigger than like Dam or Facility. But so this is another level where like the first two rooms kind of suck, similar to Control and Train. Yeah, it's the very first room, not super unmanageable. There's 3 guys right outside the little alcove. Pop out, try to kill one. Hopefully you'll be able to have the other 2 not come in at the same time, take them out one by one. The next room kind of sucks because you have to take out guys from a distance, and they see you instantly, and they are accurate with what, the AR-33, is that what it's called, the assault rifle. So if I get hit in these first 2 rooms, that just instant reset the level. I'm not going to bother. I have to do a clean, perfect 100% health run through these first 2 rooms. And then I'd assume most people know this. You don't want to go down and fight Jaws right away, because the instant he's dead, infinitely generating guards will flood the entire level with double Moonraker lasers and shoot you dead. You want to kill Jaws as the basically last. You basically want him to be ideally like the last living character in the entire level at the time you kill him. Sometimes they don't clear out the whole bottom, but yeah, that would be ideal. But so you stay on top, go in the awesome like room with all the screens from the movie. That room's actually much easier than the first 2 because you can just make some racket outside, then take out the 5 guys, I think it is, one by one as they flood out the door. The next room after that long corridor leading to the bottom of the shuttle, that's even easier because all the guys don't see you until you can just headshot them one by one from the distance. Now, I had some trouble with the little metal tunnels, the little air ducts underneath, until I learned that you can actually pop your head out in between the 2 turret guns facing away from each other and take them out easily. And then the game even gives you the body armor. Again, if the body armor was not there, this might move to the top. But it's the fact that they give you that body armor that puts it here. Now, I do hate the big room in the middle, the one that has the shuttle itself in it, because 4 turret guns, a lot of good dudes with lasers, pretty accurate from a distance. Hard, but it is possible to take out at least 3 of the turret guns from a relatively safe position within the duct itself, and only 1 guy in the distance will come at you, and if you know he's coming, you can take him down pretty much immediately. So there's only really 1 turret gun you have to deal with in a more difficult way while you're under fire. Still, though, I don't think I've ever gotten through this room without taking at least a hit or 2. No, I don't think I've ever made it through this point at 100% health. Then you go down to the Battle with Jaws. Not terribly difficult because there's the huge room with the staircase going up and down the perimeter. And like other enemies in the game, Jaws cannot shoot up the staircase at you. So this good area to kill Jaws. I've seen guides online saying to lure Jaws to the room with the screens, because once he's dead, the enemies start flooding in. I take more damage trying to do that than I do trying to face down the guys with the lasers afterwards. So I'll lure him to the room with the spiral staircase, but that's about it. That's where I take him out. But not a terribly difficult boss encounter. Yeah, this game doesn't have too demanding bosses. I'm thinking about basically the 3 bosses in the game, and I don't think I'm forgetting anything, are Xenia and Jungle, Alec and Cradle, and Jaws in this level. And yeah, none of them are, well, I guess Baron Samedi in the next one, kind of, but that's even easier. Spoiler alert. Yeah, none of these bosses are terribly demanding. Then it's a pretty mad dash. You'll, of course, want to have the room below the shuttle ignition area, below the flame nozzles open and ready to go. So you can mad dash back to put the disc in, mad dash to put the shuttle guidance in. Now, I don't want to, like, undersell, like, you know, Aztec is not easy. Aztec is fucking hard, especially the first 2 rooms, but it's less punishing in its totality, I believe, than Control or Cavern, simply because, yeah, I think about Aztec, the entirety of it, stressful, yes, nothing as stressful as protecting our computer hacking friend Natalia, and it's shorter than Cavern, so yeah, Aztec is no breeze, not even on Secret Agent, not even on Agent, really. Even Agent Aztec would rank, versus the 00 levels would, I'd put it at least here, even on Agent, but 00 Agent, it's just, there's no Jackway radio. Yeah, so, Aztec, very difficult. It is S tier, but it's narrowly at the bottom of S tier. It's close to a tie between these 3 levels, but overall this is how I'd sort them. And that brings us to our somewhat surprising conclusion of the game. Like I said, as a kid, I could not beat 00 Agent, Control, or Caverns. I might have even been stuck on Silo too, I can't remember. So, Egyptian was always this mystery to me as a kid. I imagined it in my mind to be like the nightmare of all nightmares, like Aztec times 2 difficulty. Nope, not at all. Actually, I'm gonna pop it just about there. Yeah, that is as surprising to me as anyone else. The guards are not that smart. They're not that accurate. They're not that aggressive. They're not that powerful. They don't swarm you in any particularly intimidating numbers. These spaces are fairly wide open. The one difficult part is the kind of puzzle element of figuring out the little tile order in that room before the golden gun. I'm not gonna lie and say I cheated. I looked it up online. If you consider me not a real gamer for that, that's fine. I never claimed to be a real gamer. But it's that puzzle aspect to me annoying. Once you get the golden gun in hand, you can charge very quickly to Baron Samity's first place in the room right outside. He's not that, dodgy or powerful. Take him out, then it's like a less than a 30-second jog back to the opening room of the level, take him out again. Then if you know the best route to the, I go back to the first spot you shot him down, then there's a hallway and the programmer is almost there on your side here. There's 3 turret guns, which is a nightmare in principle, but they're all in a way in the hallway where you can just run right past them and they will never hit you if you just keep moving at full speed. One quick turn to the left, there's Baron Samity again. He has Moonraker lasers, but as long as you have your golden gun, yeah, this level is not very stressful at all, even on 00 Agent. It's just a quick, it's only the puzzle of the tile, route to get to the golden gun. That's the only tricky part. Once you know that, it is a quick shot to the 3 Baron Samity locations, provided you know where they are, which I do. So yeah, Egyptian is a little bit easier than Dam, in my opinion, on 00 Agent, which is crazy. I'm imagining kind of a hypothetical different version of Egypt. It could even have the exact same layout, but like, say there's multiple rooms where you have to do like tiles. Let's say you have to do it under fire, get these tiles in a specific order or you die. Add another, dozen wall turret guns in various locations through the levels. The guards aren't chilled out. They're as powerful as the strongest guards in the game, right? And they know where you are, and they're charging you like Cradle from the second the level starts in just huge numbers. And imagine Baron Samity is twice as slippery with his dodging and has much stronger guns and much more accurate. I'm imagining this alternate version of this level, where it's like where it's here, right, or here. But as it currently is, yeah, Egyptian is kind of a nice little chill. It's almost like a quick little ride, a quick little dessert, at the end of the game. Just say like, you made it through this tough Aztec level. Why don't you chill out a little bit with the Egyptian temple and or the crypt, I think almost the menu calls it. But yeah, Egyptian, not particularly hard at all. I think I think I probably died the first couple times trying to get through the room with the tiles to get the golden gun. But once I knew the order and did it, I think my very first try ever on 00 Agent, I beat the level, which you cannot say for Control or Caverns or Aztec or Silo or Train or Jungle or Bunker 2 or Cradle or even Depot. But yeah, just Egyptian, no real sweat. Just did it. The only reason I even rank it as high as this is because of the damn tile puzzle. If it wasn't for that, it might be down on the Runway Bunker 1 level. But that takes us to the end of our GoldenEye journey. And man, it's been a fun time replaying this game. Like I said at the beginning of this little review retrospective tier list, I don't even care how much criticism people have about how far behind it. I played through some of the most modern first-person shooters on the market in recent years, and yeah, honestly, I think I enjoy GoldenEye more than any of them. I'd have more of an inclination to put to fire GoldenEye up on my TV and play through it again right now than I do any Call of Duty or Doom or Far Cry game of recent years. I just honestly, yeah, I think it is the bee's knees, and I've loved it for a quarter century, and I see no reason for that to stop. Now I'm just really wanting Perfect Dark on the N64 Online on the Switch, because yeah, I'm just in the mood now for this kind of game, and I have no particular urge to put in my N64, which I do have in my closet, but I have no particular urge to put that on the TV and hold the old weird N64 controller and play it in blurry full screen. I want it with this. I want it on my widescreen TV with the cleaned up graphics and lighting, sharp as can be, to play it with my Switch Pro controller with the controls switched up to play like a modern first-person shooter style. That's how I want to replay Perfect Dark, and fingers crossed that comes to fruition. I can be doing a Perfect Dark levels difficulty tier list sometime in the next year or so. Who knows what could happen? I didn't think we'd get GoldenEye by this time last year, so no reason Perfect Dark's impossible. But yeah, so thanks for listening, and for England, YouTube.